Are you ready to solve all chocolate for Jesus equals 8 at 8? Let's do it right now for the glory of Jesus. Chocolate comes from this one and only plant that is internationally called this one word by divine ordinance. Are you ready to see the glory of God? Boom. 120 exactly. 8 times 15, 3-digit all factor 8 number that divides by 8, 7n plus 1, 7n plus 1, 7n plus 1. Chocolate. As in every single chocolate that ever has been eaten and ever will be eaten to the glory of Jesus equals 8 at 8. It is the scientific name, the international name, in all languages and all the earth. This is the one and only name by divine ordinance for all chocolate and cocoa powder and chocolate. Every ounce of chocolate. And let's just back up to the chocolate page so we can appreciate just how big this is in the story of God. Down here, just in the sheer numbers, if we just do a search for million, you'll typically get the production stats. According to the World Cocoa Foundation, some 50 million people around the world depend on cocoa as a source of livelihood. And what else can we find here? I mean, you can research for yourself. It's basically man's favorite food as a treat. But all chocolate is solved in this one word. This is the efficiency of God, the scientific name, and God has been leading me to solve scientific names of all foods, and seeing the glory of Jesus equals 8 at 8 in all foods. He takes the glory for all things. Now, there is a particular chocolate that is particularly fun and delicious and has a particularly good name mathematically, and that is Ferrero Rocher. Do the math on these guys. Are you ready for this right now? Boom. Ferrero Rocher adds to 8 times the 8th prime perfectly. And that is why they have done so well. They are one of the most well-known Italian chocolates now. And this is instantly recognizable by people in ever-increasing numbers all over the world. Ferrero Rocher, they are so smart. They've got that 8 times the 8th prime on every single individual chocolate, which is why these things have prospered so much. And we're gonna watch a hilarious commercial for the original Ferrero Rocher that will just get you singing for joy at just how funny it is, but how divine it also is. Oh, it's just delicious. But every single one of them. So that on the box, Ferrero Rocher, that adds exactly to 8 times the 8th prime. And then on every single chocolate, they have that name as well. Good strategy. Maximize the glory of Jesus equals 8 at 8. Paste that name on every single chocolate in the box, so people have to literally unwrap that name every single time they eat one of your chocolates. Amazing. Now we're going to watch a YouTube video on Ferrero Rocher commercial, and it is very special because the tagline even divides by 8 at the end. It's called the Ambassador's Reception. It's hilarious. It's one of the classier commercials of the...
The ambassador's receptions are noted in society for their host's exquisite taste that captivates his guests. Ferrero Rocher.
Delicious.
Excellent.
Monsieur, with this Rocher already spoiling us.
Ferrero Rocher, a sign of good taste.
So here's how that works. All chocolate comes from this one plant, Theobroma cacao. And what that means is literally food of the gods. It is awesome. An awesome name for the glory of Jesus equals 8 at 8. You can see it here, the description. First of all, cacao, that word all by itself glorifies the number 3, but the whole thing, this is it. This is how you're to calculate the name. The full, international, one and only scientific name for all time that is the same whether you live in Germany, in France, in Spain, in North America. This is the one and only name, and this is the one and only number from which all chocolate derives. And this is by divine ordinance. The story of human history is God's story. You have eaten chocolate in your life. If you're alive and breathing, there's no way you haven't eaten chocolate. Well, every chocolate you've ever eaten is for the glory of Jesus. Amen. And he has chosen to do this mathematically. Math is the purest science. It is the simplest and the purest and the most extravagant science. It is the most prolific way that God glorifies himself, and this is how God has chosen to do it. He has ordained that every letter equals a number in English and Latin and all the languages, and Hebrew and Greek over the top. That is simply how God has decided to do it. He said, I'm going to make every single letter that these people speak and write also equal a number. And whether they know it or not, the words that they come up with and the names that they give to the things that I create and allow them to discover, I'm going to make sure that it is a giant glory fest for myself and for my one and only Son, Jesus, equals 8 at 8. And that is what God has done. And then you are invited into the mind of God and the will of God by naming whatever businesses or children you have or things that you get to name. You name them for the intentional mathematical glory of Jesus, and watch how he blesses you for it. So this name for chocolate comes from the Greek of theos. It begins with God. That's awesome. Theo is God in Greek. And broma, meaning food, for food of the gods. What's really awesome is if you combine these two words, I have a calculator on the Greek as well, you get glory as well. But this is the official name for all time right here. So every single person that has ever eaten any chocolate has done so for the glory of Jesus. And look at how much is produced per year. It is cultivated on roughly 17 million acres worldwide. And these are the top chocolate producing countries. And this is the value in multiplied by $1,000. So we are talking $1 billion of chocolate from the Ivory Coast in Italy alone. Over 1.3 metric tons of the stuff. Then in Ghana, roughly half of that. Indonesia, similar. Nigeria, half. Brazil, half. Cameroon, Ecuador, Colombia, Mexico, because it is a tropical plant. The tropical nations are producing the greatest amounts, and all the way along to produce this grand total of roughly, 17 million acres. What is this averaging the total? I would estimate somewhere of the order of $3 billion. Perhaps, and maybe 5 million metric tons per year. That is an exceedingly hard to comprehend amount. Okay, so in 2003 it was about 3.5 million tons. Astonishing. Chocolate and chocolate milk and all the other things that come from the cacao plant, anything related to cocoa. Just think to yourself how much you have enjoyed this at Christmas time, from hot chocolate to chocolate cake and chocolate chip cookies and the whole 9 yards. And then read the deep history of chocolate, but consider that it was all come from this one plant, and that God has ordained man to name this plant the name that he did, that man has now done. And that is the point in history that we are at. God is always increasing his glory and his revelations to mankind, and so we are extremely blessed to receive at this point in history that the name of chocolate is 120, bang on the nose, for Jesus' glory, mathematically. And now it's time to solve a whole bunch of other food. Amen.